Alrighty, like the title says, we're putting a brushless in this thing. The easiest way of getting to that motor is taking the body off. I'm gonna go ahead and cut these zip ties. For the motor and ESC, I'm using an outrunner. And let's see what we got here. We have an RC Enjoy 1400 kilovolts. I like this setup. It is cheap. Sometimes you can get it on sale for like 60 bucks. Other than that, I think you're looking at like 75, 80. But you get everything you see here, except maybe the spur gear. That I don't know about that. The one thing I'm not looking forward to is taking out the old motor, because there's a lot of little pieces in there. And judging by this tiny crude drawing, there's gonna be some tears. And look at that, we got our slipper clutch, just a lot of tiny little bastard pieces. Hoping for the best. I have everything disconnected, so the motor's just held in with these two screws like I thought. I have the lights. I took the steering servo and disconnected that, tucked it down, and then the steering wheel servo and the Y-split, I tucked that up under there. I got the ESC and the receiver out. I still got to scrape a little bit of that double-sided tape off, but I wiped down the inside with Simple Green. And now on to the 8 bolts, or screws. Now here are the locations of all the screws. There's one here, here. There is one here, here. I thought there was supposed to be 2 here, one there and one there. And then there's one, I think, there and there. I'm going to double check on that. Yeah, these 2. Because these 4 are for the bumper, which I do have a metal bumper I might pop on here. I gotta see if I have the square poles. But yeah, and then the body should just pop off and we'll have easy access to the motor. Alrighty, it was 6 bolts. 2 up front, 2 in the middle, 2 in the back. And just like that, the body is off. Now that the body's off, we can take a little bit better look at the meat and potatoes on this thing. All the reviews I watched, they mention the shocks. And they are not wrong. These aren't the best. They are actual oil-filled shocks, so I might drain them and fill them up, refill them, put some different heavier oil in them or whatever. But then I also put some metal drive shafts on. These are the ones that came with it. Pretty beefy plastic ones. But these brand is called Daitaku. It's fancy. It's Italian. It is not Italian. They are, I think, just like a few cents cheaper than the Muse or the Injora. You'd say, why don't you just get those then? I just wanted to try these guys. It's always good to try different brands. You never know if you find a real gem or whatnot. And then up here, I believe there's just a screw here and a screw here, like I said before. And this motor should pop off. I don't got to unscrew anything up here. I don't believe, because this is just a dog bone, it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and pop those out, and we'll see what happens. Okay, I have the 2 screws over here taken out, and that's these 2. Just like that, the motor is out. Now for the fun part. There are these 4 screws, and my goal is to take those out and hopefully just remove that cover without touching the shaft at all. Giggity. And I'm just really hoping that I can pull this off, just this piece, undo the screws for the motor, take the motor off, and hopefully the spur gear on that motor will be the exact amount of teeth as the one that's on here. Should be. Fingers fucking crossed. So I removed the 4 screws. There's 2 long ones on the bottom, 2 short ones on top. And when you pull that apart, you don't have to unscrew any of this stuff. You got your main spur with your slipper clutch and all that fun what in there. Then, when we come into here, we have a gear that just slides out. And then there's a little pin here. Pull that pin. Okay, now there's 4 more screws. So I'll take care of that quick. Okay, now that all 4 of those screws are out, now this plate can come off. And there is a shaft with a pin in the back, so be careful with that, don't lose that. And that pin's gonna go into that. Oh, I'm covering everything. Now that all of that is taken apart, I can take out this screw and that screw, and that is holding the motor on. And I don't know, I'm gonna count the teeth on this and count the teeth on the other motor and see if they are the same. Hopefully they are, because I know for a fact that the Loctite they use on the set screw for this spur is insane. So hopefully I can just swap the motors. So the set screw on the stock motor was actually very easy to pop off. There was a Loctite on there, but not a stupid amount like SCX does. So here's what I'm going to do before I just slap it all back together. The motor will sit in there like so. So that bearing that you can see, that's the top of it. Now when I put the motor in, I want to make sure that my wires are facing upwards and out of the way. I could put that there's many holes I could do. And then when I get this all screwed together, I'm going to reverse everything. Put everything in the way I pulled it apart, it's going to go back that way. But I'm still going to show what I'm doing. I want this thing to be detailed as possible. Everybody wants to know what they're doing when they're doing something for the first time. So first things first, I put the gear and the shaft in. Giggity. And now I'm going to take my spur gear and put this onto my motor shaft. Giggity. And make sure everything lines up. But I also, oh boy, how did I describe this? There's a flat spot on the motor, and I need to put the set screw on that. And I want the spur gear to sit flush onto this. I want the gears to mesh. And now I just have to spin the motor. And now the flat spot on the motor shaft is lined up with the spur gear, and I just got to tighten that down. It took a lot more finagling than I thought it would be. If you take a close look here, see if I can do this quick without wasting your time. On the motor shaft spur gear, like halfway, or half of it is gear, or half of it is teeth, and then half of it is just solid. You want that solid piece to just be over, like hanging over the gears on the back, so that the bottom of that gear and those teeth on this, so these gears mesh. Alrighty. First, I'm going to put some synthetic grease in here. And I know it's not even going to stick around, it's going to get flung all over. But better safe than sorry. Especially this little bearing up here. I'll pack some grease in there. And there is that bearing right here that fell out of the back. And so we'll push that up onto here and make sure that everything fits and spins. Cool. Now to put those 4 screws back in. Now that I have those 4 screws in, I have to take this pin and slide it into here. So I slide that pin in. I gotta line the pin up with that. Boy howdy, I'm losing it. Now that that's on, all what's left is to put the spur gear on and put the last screws in. But like the other gear, I'm going to grease her up. I don't know if I should put any grease on that. There's plenty of grease on this guy, because there are those pads in there. I don't think those are supposed to get any type of oil or anything on them. Now to put the screws in. And just like that, the motor and the transmission, or gearbox, whatever you want to call it, is back together. Now to put it into the chassis. I shouldn't be messing with any of that. Everything spins. That's a good sign. Alrighty, now to declutter this. Now I'm putting it back into the chassis, and when I pulled this out, there was where the dog bone slides into, it was vertical up and down, so I'm just gonna do the exact same way, unless this dog bone has shifted, which it seems it has. Get out of there. Yep. Slide it in. Now I just gotta put my screws in here and over here. I'm just gonna go ahead and say screw it and put a new 20 kg servo in while I'm at it. Servo's still good, but hey, we're already in here. And literally to do that, 2 screws and then the servo horn screw on the bottom. I do not believe there are screws on the inside of the frame, but I could be wrong. Took a little finagling, a little bit of filing, but there's a slot in here that the servo slides into, and so it slides into there. I gotta hook it up and make sure that it lines up straight before I put anything back together. And I have this badass aluminium servo horn I'm gonna put on there, and a big ass beetle just landed in my room. I'm gonna take care of that son of a bitch quick. I'm getting the body put on right now, just making sure everything is lined up, which I believe it is. I made sure to pull all of my wires out the top. We're getting there. I'm going to put the screws in and then move on to getting everything double-sided taped back in. The body is screwed down. I have the ESC. I'm using 3M double-sided tape. I just put two pieces on there. And I want my motor wires facing the driver's side, so... And when I put this in here, this thing just fits perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. And I believe when I close it, nothing gets in the way, nothing's pushing down on the blower. Everything's coming up Millhouse. And for the receiver, I'm using me a good old Spectrum SR515. Listen to me name that off like I know what I'm talking about. All I know is this thing's small, and it can use a rocker switch for a winch. So, schlop this bad boy in there, and I think we should be ready to give her a test go. Everything is mounted. Everything's double-sided taped down. I used the original wire wrap to clean up the wiring the best I can. And it is what it is. I got the power switch double-sided taped over here on the front right side. Steering's all hooked up, except for under here. I have to put the servo horn on, but first I'm going to put power to it. And then when there's power to it, the servo should straighten out, hypothetically. It always straightens out. I'll get everything hooked up, and then we'll take this to the couch and try some couch crawling. And if you made it this far, I really hope this video helped, and I hope I'm just not some rambling idiot. So let's get to the couch crawling part. I'm not gonna bore you with the servo. Okay, before we get to the couch, the servo is hooked up. The servo horn is hooked up. So let's start it up. It's connected. Now let's see if it goes forward or back, or if I got it all mixed up. Okay, it's going forward. When I pull the trigger, and reverse, this is nice, slow and controllable. Hell yeah. The only downside to these RC Enjoy brand motors, they got that hum to them, but at least it's not a whine. So let's go crawl this motherfucker. So at 50%, that is full throttle. That was a very nice control. Then I figure out what's up with the servo. I do have to say the new servo is way more responsive. So this has nothing to do with performance, but you can, if you want these little center hubs, or lockers, fake lockers, whatever, you can download those at my Colts 3D account on Colts 3D, Hellfish RC. Get all your stuff for free. You just print them out and put some magnets in them. Now, I'm going to switch it to 75%. Hell yeah. $100. Brushless is nice. It's nice, it's smooth. Except for that fan, it is pretty quiet. But without that fan, this thing would probably overheat pretty fast.